Hi, I'm Tristan. I'm 13 years old. I'm curious, I'm passionate, and I'm sure you are too. Join me on a quest to dig deep and find out new things. Welcome to Youth Voices. Good evening. Welcome to my program. This is your host, Tristan Pang, on Planet FM 104.6. Youth Voices. Good to have you company on a Saturday evening. In today's show, I'll continue my chat with Mr. Peter Crompton, principal of Ficino School. I'll also share with you some inspirational quotes and stories. But before I start, let me share with you my recent adventures in the UAE. So, I've just come back from the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. The UAE is a country located in the southern east end of the Arabian Peninsula, on the Persian Gulf, bordering Oman to the east and Saudi Arabia to the south. There's 7 emirates in the UAE. The capital city is Abu Dhabi, which is the largest emirate in the area. Dubai comes second, and Sharjah is the third. I was invited by Sharjah's government, the Department of Culture and Information, and the Ministry of Education to attend a stage interview at the Sharjah Children's Reading Festival. This is one of the UAE's biggest events. It runs for 11 days every year. The visitor turnout this year is expected to exceed last year's festival, which saw 140,000 visitors. I really like Sharjah. Sharjah is one of the most culturally rich places on earth, and they're very big on education too. Education is free for male and female citizen children through the university level. The Sharjah ruler, Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al Qasimi, he himself is a great scholar, has constantly striven to encourage and promote literacy, reading, and the preservation of culture in the emirate. The hospitality to the overseas guests was fantastic. Everything arranged by the organizer, Miss Heba Jasm, was perfect. It's a great honor to be invited there. My sincere thanks to Miss Jasm and to the beautiful city Sharjah and to the wonderful country UAE. I really hope I can share my experience with the young people there again next year. Let's be inspired. A story of a blind girl from livingtreasure.org. There was a blind girl who hated herself just because she was blind. She hated everyone except her loving boyfriend. He was always there for her. She said that if she could only see the world, she would marry her boyfriend. One day, someone donated a pair of eyes to her, and then she could see everything, including her boyfriend. Her boyfriend asked her, "Now that you can see the world, will you marry me?" The girl was shocked when she saw that her boyfriend was blind too, and refused to marry him. Her boyfriend walked away in tears, and later wrote a letter to her saying, "Just take care of my eyes, dear." This is truly a very touching story. Yes, you may think it is only a story, but come to think about it, do you think it sounds familiar? Yes, it's our relationship with our parents. When we were young, we need their help, but when we grow up, the situation changes. We no longer need them. We are stronger, we know more of the modern things than they do. The bright future is lying in front of us. How many times have we forgotten that what we are is actually from our parents? Just like the girl in the story. The girl just didn't care to find out why she could see and abandoned her boyfriend. Our parents sacrificed a lot for our future. We should always remember that and be thankful to them. Let's talk! This is the second part of my featured guest, Mr. Peter Crompton's interview. He is the principal of Ficino School, where I graduated last year. Ficino School is a primary and intermediate school in Mount Eden. There are a lot of fantastic, unique features at the school, such as philosophy, Sanskrit, the pause and meditation, vegetarian lunch, Shakespeare plays, literature, and the list goes on. Ficino's educational philosophy is that every child has a unique potential, and by giving the right environment, that potential can grow, be realized, and come to fulfillment to the service of humanity. Mr. Crompton got his master's degree from the Oxford University in the United Kingdom. He has over 15 years of teaching experience in primary, secondary, and university levels. He believes that the purpose of education is to bring out the best in people. To do this, under his leadership, the school presents students with the finest material in the primary phrase, where students' hearts and minds are open but tender. Mr. Crompton always gives opportunities to the students to let our potentials grow. Some examples were giving me opportunities to be head boy, approving me to deliver a speech at outside schools, events, attending university classes, and the list goes on. He is an excellent principal who nurtures our talent. I began the second part of my interview by asking Mr. Crompton my first signature question, which is to tell us 3 people who have influenced you so our young listeners can learn from them and why.
Sure. If your listeners are going to learn from them, they'll have to be people who are widely known. So the first one I'd choose is the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. Now, studying Plato teaches us to think and reflect on what we really know to be true. Socrates is the main character in Plato's work, and he lives by the statement, this is the statement he lives by, the unexamined life is not worth living. So he's really talking about getting us to critically look at ourselves. But it's not what Plato teaches us. He actually doesn't offer any answers, but he offers us a method to find answers for ourselves, and that's what's really key. This is sometimes called the Socratic method. The second person is a great spiritual teacher who lived in India in the last century. He has a long name. It's Shantananda Saraswati. And he teaches a philosophy called non-dualism. And through his stories and teachings, I've learned that there is something totally reliable within ourselves. And the way to connect with that is through stillness. So access to the still center of our being provides a source of energy that we can easily miss. Through connection with that source, our confidence and our capacity are increased far beyond what we think we're capable of. And that increased capacity is a great thing, because it's important not to live a life limited by small ideas, but rather access the source within us so that we can our capacity can be fully realized. And the third influence is my family. Everyone's influenced by their family, whether they like it or not. Our families are with us from the day we're born until the day we die, and they're intrinsically connected with who we are. So although it doesn't feel like it all the time, they are the people who understand us, and they're the people who stand by us in times of difficulty. So that's not a person, but I hope that's acceptable.
Yeah, I also like Plato. He's a wise philosopher, and it may due to your great influence when I was in Ficino school.
Excellent. He certainly is a great philosopher.
So now my second signature question is, can you share with us something that you've heard or read that really inspired you?
Yes, I can. I'm going to choose Rudyard Kipling's poem If, which you're probably familiar with because you don't usually go through Ficino without hearing it at some point.
Yeah.
But it starts with the statement, if you can keep your head when all around you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. And then it goes through a number of values and statements, and later on it says, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, and if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. And the poem finishes with, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So that man is written with a capital M because it's talking about our humanity, about being a fully mature, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually human being, man or woman. And I find the poem has just run through the kinds of values that lead to that full maturity that a young person can acquire as they grow up.
Yeah, I also like Rudyard Kipling's poem too. That's fantastic.
Excellent.
And now finally, I really enjoyed the philosophical stories you told every Monday in the assembly. So can you tell our young listeners one of your favourite stories and the moral behind it to conclude this interview?
Yes, certainly. There are a number of stories I enjoy, so I'll pick one of them. This one's about an elephant that appeared in a village, and the news went round and everyone in the village wanted to experience the elephant. Unfortunately, most of the inhabitants of this village were blind, but they still wanted to experience the elephant, so they had to be led to it. The mahout, that's the elephant rider, let them experience by touching the elephant, and of course each touched a different part. And then they met together to verify that what they had experienced was the real thing. The one who felt the leg said an elephant was like a pillar. The one who had felt the tail said it was like a snake. And the tuft of the tail became a broom, the side of the elephant a wall, and the tusk a spear. Each person described it according to the type of previous experience to which they could relate it. And then they started arguing. "Yours is not the proper elephant," they shouted, and eventually they came to blows. So this is, I like this story because it reminds us of how we can easily behave like the blind men, and we can easily end up in unnecessary arguments and disputes because we only perceive part of a picture and we think we have the whole story. But really we need to listen to other sides of the story and form the picture together, and not just think our perception is the whole story.
Yeah, that's very inspirational. So thank you, Mr. Crompton, for coming onto my show.
It's a pleasure. Very nice to hear from you again, Tristan, and all the best.
Thank you. I enjoyed the conversation with Mr. Crompton. There's always new things I can take away. Remember Mr. Crompton's story, that we need to listen to other people's perspective and not just our own, so we can take in the whole picture. Let's quote. Socrates said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." Plato said, "Wise men speak because there is something to say, fools because they have to say something." He also said, "The man who makes everything that leads to happiness depends upon himself and not upon other men, has adopted the very best plan for living happily." This is the man of moderation, the man of manly character and of wisdom. We thank you, Mr. Peter Crompton, for coming for the second part of the interview today. If you missed the first part, or want to listen to my previous programs, please go to my website, www.questisfun.org.nz/youthvoices. So for today, that's it from me, Tristan Pang. Thank you for listening. I welcome your feedback and your support of the program. Please write to me on Facebook or email me to youthvoicesnz@gmail.com. Don't forget to like Youth Voices with Tristan Pang on Facebook. Have a good weekend. Good night, world. Join me again next Saturday at 5:20 p.m. to dig deeper, or listen anytime online at planetaudio.org.nz/youthvoices. Youth Voices.